releasing episodes. So
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the STV Law Online podcast. Today we have Matias Baker Masucci, who is a great realtor, and he's not just a realtor, but he's also a proprietor. He has his own podcast. He does everything. So, before we get started, welcome, Matias.
thank you, Mason. It's great to be here. I don't know if I do everything, but I do a lot related to real estate.
Well, there you go. Like I was telling you before we got on, I was on your YouTube channel. I love it. So everybody should go on your YouTube channel and check it out.
Please, thank you. I appreciate the plug. It's at Matias Broker. So if you go to YouTube, the handle youtube.com/ at Matias Broker. And yeah, I try to put in as much information as I can, educate the public, have fun in the process.
So, for everybody listening, tell us about your background. Um,
I've been in real estate 20 years. So I was only 1 year old when I started, as you can tell.
yeah.
Uh, when I am, so yeah, I've been in real estate. I started in property management, which is, actually I started as a resident manager, which is the toughest job in real estate. And then, moved into investment sales, eventually became a realtor, then a broker. And right now, I run a small team that covers all of LA County. We do some parts of Southern Ventura County and Northern Orange County, as well as the Inland Empire. So we have a good footprint. I specialize, from like luxury estates. My office is in Beverly Hills. That's where I'm broadcasting now from. But as I like to say, it's just an address. We serve all of Los Angeles County and surrounding areas, um, from luxury estates to starter homes, from trust and probate sale, which I think is what we're going to talk and delve into it, to real estate residential investing. That's kind of my area of expertise. And yeah, when I'm not selling real estate, I'm a father of four. And so I spend time with my rambunctious children.
They keep you busy, I'm sure.
Yeah,
What are their
exactly.
ages now?
9, 7, 5, and 3.
Oh boy, you're gonna get teenagers soon, and then you're in trouble.
And then I'm gonna be. That's what I hear because my oldest, she's a girl, so I hear that girls, when the teenage years come around, it's uh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I got a, my kids are older now, but both of them had, when hit the teenage years. Oh yeah, my daughter would say, "No more pictures of me," and I was like, "Yeah, oh yeah, you're gonna get those." So let's talk about. I know you do the probate and you do the trust stuff, which not
Yeah.
every realtor does. Is that any different? Do you handle it differently than other sales when it comes to
Oh,
real estate?
substantially different. Yeah, substantially different from understanding who has to sign the listing agreement. Those are very important elements. They are, the asset may be similar. So it's generally, like what's is an estate is a single family home, the family home that the kids inherit. But the way the sales are handled are completely different. An example that I can give you is,
Mm.
I mean, as an attorney, this because even though you don't practice in the area, you did take your. I'm sure when you went to law school, you took your will and trust class. And in California, the law is very specific. If you don't have a trust, whether you die with a will or intestate, it goes through probate, which is a public process. The court um, goes through, essentially either verifying the veracity, the validity of the will, or in the absence of a will, appointing, determining who is the administrator, who will be the administrator, and appointing them either with limited authority or full authority. It's a lot of information to share in a few sentences, but me as the real estate agent, it's very important for me to know in what capacity is someone signing the listing agreement. I go to you, Mason, you want to sell your house. It's pretty simple. It's
Mhm.
you, your wife, whoever, you sign it in your own name. Even if your house is in a trust, you still are, you're the trustor, the trustee. It's a living trust most of the time. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Uh, on the other hand, when we're talking about a probate or a trust sale, we're dealing with a successor trustee because usually when it's a trust sale in this, the trust has been activated. So the trustor has passed away. And, so then we have to, kind of like first you determine who has the authority to sign. So when they have full authority, there's no, in the case of a probate, there's no supervision of the court for many of the decisions. So only limited decisions have to be supervised by the court, like the accounting and things like that. When they have limited authority, that becomes even more complex because now we need an approval of the court for the sale. You need to make sure it's published. There's a lot of rules about dealing with the creditors to the estate, letting people know, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just the very beginning, just how different at the very beginning. So generally speaking, when we deal with the probate, the first thing we obtain are the letters of administration. Somebody's either an executor if there's a will, or just, if there's no will, obviously they're just an administrator. Sometimes we deal with special administrators. I don't want to get into too much not important detail, but because I believe, we are, this is not for the experts. This is for somebody who finds himself in this situation. The important thing is to work with somebody who understands this thing and who is proactive about getting the title insurance out and all of those things. So we could delve deeper into that, but just like kind of like a short thing, they're very different. Standard sales from probate sales are different in real estate.
Yeah, just before you, I on my podcast, I had Lisa Odom, who is an attorney who does real estate, trust administration, probate, and she was telling me about the reporting requirements, which I never knew. Obviously, I'm not
Right.
doing any trust work. I do only personal injury,
Yeah.
but that was something I did not know about at all.
Yeah,
And I'm
absolutely. I mean, it's a niche area of law, right? Like, and so if you don't practice it, and it keeps, you're kind of like, I mean, who deal? I'm telling you something funny, Mason. Like, before I got into it, I didn't even know what a probate was. I had never even heard the word probate. You know what I mean? It's like the lay person doesn't really know what probate is. We don't really want to. Nobody wants to deal with death.
and I know probate's bad, hard, expensive, and long.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all of those things are
So
true.
yeah, so in your experience, what's the best way of avoiding that? Should people just always have a trust?
Yeah, you got to do estate planning. You got to do estate planning. It's very important to do the estate planning well far ahead. You're going to do a big favor to your kids. Another thing about the issue with probate is that it's public. So probate is a public thing, just like everything that goes through the courts.
Mm.
Now, well, 99% of the things that go through the courts. So what does that mean? That means that when you file a probate, everybody knows about it. Everybody can look up which houses are in probate, under which name. You can be bombarded by a bunch of spam. And we have that problem, we have that problem that we tell people all the time, be careful because this is what's going to happen. And there's going to be, unfortunately, there's going to be people out there who don't have your best interest in mind. Imagine some adult children who inherited a home. They live in New York. Their parents are in LA. They inherited a home. They get some calls from some stranger who says, "I'm going to buy your home, all cash. You don't have to do anything. Right?" And 99.99%, it's way below market value because people are not aware. Maybe it's the house they grew up in. I have so many examples. People that, especially in Los Angeles, they purchase home 50 years ago for $100,000 that are now worth $2.5 million. And you're like thinking, 1.5 million, that sounds reasonable. Sure, I'll take it. You know, be very careful when that happens because,
Yeah, and you know what? I see those commercials on TV, and as soon as I see them, I cringe.
yes.
Just
Yeah.
like when I see attorney commercials, I cringe because they're
Yeah.
always lying to you.
Yes, I love those. Now you see them on YouTube too, right? These commercials like, are you thinking about listing your house with a realtor? What you should sell it to us, no commission. And I love this because when this happens to my clients, you're gonna love this, Mason. I always say, let them give you a number. Go, let them give you a number. And then they give the number and I run the numbers and I say, okay, they want you to save, let's say, the commission for an agent is 5%, right? Both sides buy it, whatever, or 6%, whatever. But they're offering you 30% below market value. So to save 5 or 6%, you are paying 30%.
Yeah. Yeah, be careful. Be careful out
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
So, what's the biggest challenge you have in your business?
I have to say, my business, I'm very happy about the fact that the business continues to evolve. So it's not static. One of the things, but I have to be honest with you, Mason, there are moments where I felt overwhelmed, where I was like, oh my God, this is too much. Like we have so many things going on and so much. Um, and what I've been able to do, I think, over the last 2 years, it's been very important for me to do it really, is to systematize things. So creating a lot of checklists, using um, project management softwares, creating email templates, like because even though every sale is unique, there is kind of there's a blueprint that you can follow, and we have checklists that are specific for trust sales, specific for buyers, specific for probate with limited authority or with full authority. And some of these checklists have like 250 items on it. But some of these things are so simple, like do a walkthrough of the property, make sure that everything is safe, right? If there is a step outside that's cracked, we all know you're a personal injury lawyer. We don't want somebody to go show the house, they fall down, and then God knows what happens. So what we do is just simple things like that, a cleaning, clearing. If there's repairs to be done, and that goes down, to all the little things like make sure the preliminary title is clear. So this is another thing that I wanted to talk about. If you allow me this little
Sure.
segue, one of the things that I like to be very proactive on is making sure that there are no title issues. For people that don't understand what this means, I would like to explain it in a very simple term. When you sell a house in California, it's required by the lender if anybody's getting a loan, but also if it's an all cash transaction, you are gonna want it. It's title insurance. So title insurance protects you from defects of title. For instance, like Mason is selling his house and I'm representing, and then the buyer's buying it, and then it turns out that Mason didn't never own the house in the first place because there was some title action that happened or whatnot. So this is very important to find out early on with the seller, because a lot of it, like we don't like people don't know this. For instance, let's say you want to sell, I run a preliminary title report which tell me what the exclusions are, and I see you have one mortgage and you know about it. Hey, you have a mortgage with Chase? Yes, Matias, I have a mortgage with Chase. Great. I see here a HELOC, a home equity line with IndyMac Bank. Is that you? I was like, I don't remember having that. We paid that off a long time ago. Well, IndyMac Bank went out of business. So they never sent the reconveyance. So we have this thing on title. So we better, those things take time to clear. You have to send it to the research department. Who bought IndyMac Bank? They went, like you remember Countrywide, all those banks that went out of business, right?
Hmm.
You got to find who owns the note now, and you got to make sure the note department knows, and they send the release to escrow. You have to bond around it. So all of those things are so important to do because you don't want to do them when you have a buyer in escrow who's ready to close, who's paying interest on whatever, who's already locked their rate, and you have to say, sorry, we can't close in 30 days. Now it's going to take us 60 days. They're going to be like, well, I'm going to lose my preferred rate that I locked. And now, so all of that you want to do ahead of time.
Yeah.
So to get back to your question, what I do is have all these things systematized so that nothing falls through the crack. I have a great assistant who is full time working for me, and she makes sure that we go through everything. I've built the systems myself from years of experience, and we fine tune them to this day. Something happened this morning when we had to tweak something where the template had to be changed because we had one email going out before the other one. Like one email was to request something, and then it was like, okay, those need to be moved around. So continuous. I love it. This continuous refinement. It's I don't know. It's a pleasure to do it.
Yeah, and it's not just loans. I mean, you got list pendants going on sometimes with somebody
Absolutely.
puts, yeah.
Even sometimes it happens in the middle of escrow. I had this happen last year in the middle of escrow. Two brothers arguing, a lease pendants was filed, and who the hell wants to buy a property with a lease pendants on it? So we had to literally handle during the escrow, make sure they had an agreement, they release it, da da da, and all of that. Like some it's so important. Experience really pays. It really pays because to keep this transaction together, because it's very expensive to go back on the market to cancel an escrow.
Yeah.
You know how people are now. This is stale. These properties been on the market too long. We're gonna just when people smell blood, especially in our market in Los Angeles, the sharks start to circle once they smell the blood.
And I know you just don't do the probate sales; you do all sorts of sales, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Market.
I do your regular neighborhood realtor sale. So we do. I sell luxury estate. Really, it's residential.
Yeah.
I'm focused 100% on residential. I don't do any commercial, even though apartment buildings is a niche. It's considered commercial lending, but it's still residential because it's multi-unit, and I've sold quite a few of those, which have been part of my yeah, I guess experience and uh, portfolio of clients that I've worked with.
Do you have a favorite neighborhood that you like to, show to people for sales?
Like, in favorite neighborhoods around LA. Oh, there are so many. But the beautiful thing about having lived in LA for 26 years, and now going on 27, and um, having come here from Italy. So I never took LA for granted. I think that if you're born and raised here, you can, you may think like, oh, everything. I came from a very different culture, as you know, Mason, and I always explored the city of LA. I've been like to neighborhoods that I can tell you people that have lived here 60 years have never gone to, like, and I love my job because it takes me there, and working with attorneys, an attorney that handles probate, an estate may have properties everywhere, may have properties in neighborhoods you never heard of, like Manchester Square, or like parts in LA where people are like, where, it's like, so I love that, and I think it's a great illustration. Like, I give you an example. Like right now, I just sold a house in Redondo Beach, right? So the Redondo Beach, and one in Brentwood on Mandeville Canyon, and I'm getting ready to list one in Burbank and one in Northridge. So that's kind of like, just to give you an idea. My business is really, it's really like, it's not like I'm not neighborhood focused or area focused. I'm another thing I love to say is that I'm price agnostic. I am not, like, I've had clients before in the past that were like, oh, we think, maybe this is not the right price range for you. I was like, I don't care if it's a $500,000 condo in Inglewood or, a $5 million home in West LA. We have systematized and we do active marketing, which is really like a big part of my business. And it's been very, very effective to do it.
And to make sure you handle, obviously, you could be on the buyer side or the seller side, right?
Yes, yes, I do. I do both. Um, Not at the same time. I like not
Right.
to. If I'm representing the seller, I like to be loyal to the seller and not represent. Even if people comes up and say, "Hey, can you represent me?" Usually, I just say, "You know what? I know you don't have an agent. Let me refer you to somebody I know who's a good agent." But I personally don't want to. I personally don't want to. It's just difficult to remain neutral. I know there are very, very few instances where it may be the only option, where you have to, where something
Mhm.
happens, it's an off market sale and something like that, but it's extremely rare, and generally speaking, as a consumer advocate in real estate, I guess you want to say you want your own agent. Buyers agents are
Right.
worth their price in gold. Unfortunately, they get a bad reputation because a lot of them, um, there are some out there. I don't want to say a lot of them who just open doors, but there are some buyers agents out there who are really, really good and worth their weight in gold.
So I know your website is at everyla.com.
Yes,
So if people want to get a hold of you, I know they can email you, Matias at everyla.com, or go to your website.
yes. Please go to everyla.com. Every neighborhood in LA.
What's the phone number for your office?
310-776-5145.
All right.
You can call or text that number, and I will get back to you. We're very, very good at getting back to people, and also another thing that I want to say. Um, I love to be a real estate resource for people, even if you're not selling tomorrow or buying tomorrow. if you need a broker price opinion, an opinion of how much a home it's worth, an opinion of like which neighborhoods are good, we love to do that because I mean we love this, we love our job. So that's a big part of the process.
Yeah. So now let's get to know Matthias a little bit. I know you came from Italy. When was that?
Yeah, in 1999,
Okay.
I came here for an internship in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I saw that on your welcome channel. So tell me about that. What does that mean?
Okay, so I my visa to come to the United States was sponsored by movie director Gary Marshall, which is an interesting. So I don't know if you know who he was, but he did Happy Days. He produced television Happy Days. He did uh, Pretty Woman, The Princess Diaries. He's a well-known director. Anyway, he I was hired in Italy to teach Italian to an American actor on a movie, and that he had just finished a movie with Gary Marshall, put us in touch, and then he ended up being gracious to. And I worked with Gary. I did a 2-year internship with him, and it was great. It was a great time to do that. I mean, it was like just the beginning of it was before the transition from film to digital. So it was like it was an old Hollywood that like I'm sure the Hollywood now. I haven't been in the entertainment industry in a long time, but I'm sure it has changed a lot. At the time, it still had that glamour of like, I don't know, the for lack of a better word, this was right after the time when like the all these big blockbuster movies were coming out.
Mhm.
It was a good era. I loved it. That and it was great, but it wasn't for me. The entertainment industry, it was not for me. So I eventually slowly not right away, but slowly, as I said, starting in 2004, made my transition into real estate.
Got it. So who was the actor? Can you tell us?
Yeah, it was the actors it was Giovanni Ribisi and Kate Blanchett were the two actors of the movie.
Ooh, okay. Did you meet
Yeah,
Kate Blanchett?
yeah, every day. Yeah,
So how often do you go back to Italy for a visit?
I try to go back to Italy once a year. Since having 4 kids, now it's not so easy. But we have been going. We went back this past summer, and we're gonna go back this other summer. But before that, we took a little bit of a break of like 3 years. But we are now. We're gonna try and. My goal is to go to Italy in the summer, drop off my kids, at least two of them, at my parents' house, and let them go to camp in Italy. I think it's a lot of fun. They get to learn the language. They get to spend time with their grandparents.
And it's in the northern part of Italy?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, right outside the city of Milan. It's about like like less than like 30 miles from Milan.
I have a relative in Milan. My mom's uncle has been living there for a long time.
Oh, nice. I think you told me that. I believe, or something like. I think when you did, I remember seeing a. Is it possible that I saw a picture of you in Venice or something like
Yeah.
on? Okay, okay. So I think you either had it as a background or you did a presentation. I can't remember what it was, but
Yes,
yeah.
7 years ago, we went to on a trip with my family. We went to Rome, Florence, which I loved, Venice.
Nice.
I can see myself moving to Florence. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
that's great.
absolutely. And I can tell you now, Vatican, man, I was impressed.
Yeah.
As a Jewish kid going to the Vatican, you may not think so, but I was like, wow, I like this.
Yes, yes, true. They definitely Italy. That's one thing. See, I grew up in Italy, so I take that for granted. That's funny, to be surrounded by art and beautiful, buildings, architecture, and all of
Yeah,
those things.
and now, no, my wife's been taking Italian courses for years, so I'll go home sometimes and she's got the Italian soap opera on, watching it. To go, wow.
That's
Oh,
funny.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, they're not very good. Italian soap operas are not very
I I wouldn't know because I can't understand any of them.
good. Uh,
All right, so please, if anybody is looking for real estate, especially in the probate department, and you want to avoid that anyways, but if you have a trust issue, anything, Matthias is the source you want to go to, he's gonna, if he cannot help you, he'll tell you exactly where to go. So
Absolutely.
start off with
Absolutely.
him first. As I said, he does it all. Thank you again, Matias. And everybody, please check out everyla.com. And again, what's your YouTube channel? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's at Matias Broker. I'm also on Instagram, which is Matias Broker. Basically, all social medias. You can find me Matias Broker, Matias, and then the word broker.
Okay.
Yeah, please join, comment, get in touch. Like I said, I love what I do. So if anybody needs a hand, I'm
Okay.
here.
I already subscribed to your YouTube channel. I'm going to make sure I'm on all of your social media. And thank you again for being a guest today. And
It's been a
everybody,
pleasure, Mason. I'm a
everybody
big
else,
fan. By the way, we talked about me. We didn't talk enough about you, Mason. But
that's
I'm a
another.
big fan of you. So you got great energy, and we've
Thank
known
you.
each other now, I guess, like 4 years at least, because that's when we first met. So yeah,
I know one of these days we'll have to get together, have some coffee, and just chill and just reminisce. How's that?
I think we'll do that. We'll watch some Italian soap operas together.
There
Like,
you go. You can explain to you what they are, and I'll just make up words. Okay, you're saying this. Right. And for everybody else who's watching, please subscribe if you like us. And thank you very much. We'll catch you on the next one.
bye, everyone.